The first thing I'd say is, and I'm not going to go into an explanation now, but CIOs need to understand what blockchain technology is all about. And beyond all the hype there is, because we still are at that stage where there is a lot of overhype, they need to understand what it's about, even if they've already done their research and concluded that maybe right now this is not something for my organization to be pursuing, because sooner or later somebody from the executive team's bound to come along and say, what are we doing, or why are we not doing anything? So that's why they need to have that answer ready, or they need to have the ideas ready. Well, this is actually something that our organization, our industry could become an early mover in, and we could lead the way. We're still at a point in this technology where it is, on the one hand, immaturity of course has its challenges, but it also means we still have the opportunity to shape the direction in which it's going to go. So depending on what type of organization you're a CIO in, you can actually decide to become a leader in a technology. So those are the considerations, but whatever type of organization you're in, whatever the suitability or not is of blockchain technology in your context, you can't avoid it if you're a CIO. Well, the first thing to do is not to fall into that hype trap and to step back and say, what does this technology actually mean within my organization? And it is indeed about what problems am I trying to solve, what opportunities might I wish to leverage. And so there is actually, when it comes to blockchain tech, there is a very simple question set to distill it into, because blockchain technology, and I'm obviously simplifying, it is about multi-party sharing of data and processes. So you start with, do multiple parties need access to the same data, both from a read and write perspective? Do those multiple parties need to have as much assurance as possible that that data is correct, valid, hasn't been tampered with? That is a very, very important aspect. Then you obviously need to look at what environment are you in? What's the existing process like? Is there no digital system supporting the process right now? Or is the existing one seriously broken? Say, for example, you've got a lot of friction, you're wasting time, you're forever reconciling data when everybody should have access to the same data in the first place. And you may say, well, I don't need a blockchain for any of that, and you'd be right. So you're getting to the clincher question, and that is there a good reason for not having a centralized system? Because by definition, a blockchain-based system where you're looking at something that is distributed, that is distributed and is replicated, you have an overhead also in ensuring data integrity and so on. If you don't have good reasons for not having a centralized system, then don't go to blockchain, in particular at this stage of maturity, or indeed lack thereof. Well, that's actually a very good point, and maybe I should start by saying, first of all, blockchains are 80% business, 20% technology. That's not underestimating the technology challenges. I keep talking about the lack of maturity in the technology that we're at. And of course, the only way to make it more mature is to keep working with it. But you do need to look at the wider context of the business process that you're trying to automate, because that's really what it is about, or the process you're trying to support. And again, I like to bring it back to the simple points. If you're looking at a process that has certain elements in it that have not been digitized yet, do you clearly understand the reasons why that digitization hasn't taken place? For example, is it because not everybody involved could agree on how a particular paper form should be digitized? Or because you're in an environment where electronic signatures aren't legally recognized? Or where the different authorities require something to be done ever so slightly differently, and again, you haven't been able to get rid of paper? It could be that blockchain technology and doing the process differently can act as the catalyst to open those discussions again. But you need to be clear about if something has not been digitized, meaning there's been a failure somewhere, what were the reasons for that? Because the technology can't solve that. To which I would add any other, what you might call off-chain elements, because I hear a lot around, and blockchain can prevent fraud and blockchain can ensure provenance. Well, it can only do that if you can eliminate the off-chain points of fraud, because as we've seen with other scandals, if somebody chooses to issue a fake certificate for something, and it doesn't matter whether that certificate is paper and stamped with an official seal or is registered on a blockchain, it is still a fake certificate.